this is Chuck Potter, and Diane's helping me with a little bit of work here today. She's doing a little bit of video filming, so I can talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm doing. She's getting really good at it, and I've been here in the background just doing a lot of artwork, so I thought I would show a little bit about what I'm doing. This is one of the processes that I use to stain the imagery into the different kinds of custom plasters that I've made. This plaster here is a special wood pulp plaster of Paris mix that I use. And the part that I was staining and working on was this upper area here that didn't really seem integrated. So I went ahead and pulled some Venetian plaster up in this upper section here that you'd probably see as kind of a whitish bright color, and then left these items overnight. We were working in the studio yesterday, and now I'm about ready to pull them off. We call this the reveal. So we're going to take a look and just see what, what stayed and what was left behind. I like working with feathers because feathers are really quite remarkable. They're semi-permeable. They allow some fluids to go through, but they also resist. So you never know exactly what's going to happen with them as you start to see some of the imagery. And then some of this other blocked out imagery was from some shop towels that I had dipped in a rust solution and I had sitting on top for a couple hours yesterday. Then we let the feathers sit overnight because then they leave all this nice detail in. And like I said, sometimes it becomes a block, and then sometimes it allows things to go through, and then other times, like here, it leaves a bit of an imprint and it actually sticks to the plaster. So that piece came off easy. This is sticking a little. But see the detail? Little things. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't always look like feathers. You're never really sure what it comes up with. And I've been using these things for some time. I'm really quite impressed with what sort of imagery they leave. So now this top has been integrated with this, and it kind of fits into this piece a little bit more. Should I put this up on the wall? Okay, we'll put it up on the wall, take a quick look at it, and see what we got. So the sister piece is kind of next to it here, and you can see some of the problems that I was concerned about. This looks like a curtain. It's interesting. I wanted to play with the idea, but this is one of the things that we're trying out. And I'll probably have to do some more sanding to bring that along, but now it feels less like a curtain and it feels like something a little bit more integrated in layers, and that's really kind of the feeling that I wanted to get from it. So that's that project. So I'll be working on that this afternoon, dialing that in more. Here's another little experiment that I'm working on. So this is my latest piece. It is a combination of custom plasters, and some of it includes some wood pulp, and then it has Venetian plaster poured over the top and burnished. And the idea on this piece was to take some of the advantage of the material as it was staining, and I wanted it to look more natural versus actually staining imagery on it like I might normally do, which is still a pretty random process, but I do have a little control over the imagery. Where this part of the piece, I decided to abandon that and then just take advantage of what the materials seemed to be doing, which presented a lot of fissure cracks. And the nice thing with Venetian plaster is those fissure cracks are self-healing. And what I did is after a couple of coats and burnishing, and even some sanding was also involved. I was able to then go over with a special plaster wax that helps seal in all those fissures. This has a dyed paper pulp surface. Because I'm using some lighter weight canvases here, I have to toughen the surface up a bit in order to do plaster work on it, because the canvas isn't strong enough on its own. But by putting this first layer of plaster of Paris down with a wood pulp mix, this feels almost like kind of a hard cardboard, which is really nice to do. This is burnished Venetian plaster, 2 coats on it, and I'm starting to get some variation. I'm getting some crackle. If I pull the plaster real thin, I generally will get a crackle, and I kind of like that because then I can pull plaster over it on a second layer, or I can rub a little bit of dark stains into it and accentuate these crackles and get some interesting effects. But I'm kind of interested right now in the modeling that's going on from this below this, and so I'm going to probably go out and sand this with a real fine sandpaper and see what I think, see what I can get out of it. So this is a test piece right here. So not really going anywhere with this, I'm just playing and seeing what I can get. And then I'll decide whether or not I can turn it into a finished piece. So that's a quick tour of what I've been working on for the past few weeks. And thanks for joining, and keep an eye on our YouTube videos on INI Studio, and that's under Chuck Potter Art.net and Diane Williams Art.net. Have a good day and stay healthy.